All right, y'all. It's happening. It's really freaking happening. Fresno State football just had their first week of training camp. We had an unofficial preseason poll from the Pac-12, and we had a huge announcement deal with one of the foods. All right, really, really big stuff is happening this week with Fresno State athletics. In fact, you don't even have to wait till football comes out. All right. I mean, this week, this upcoming Wednesday, the women's soccer team will be hosting the first ever Pac-12 Fresno State event. They'll be at home against UC Davis. Real quick, it's the cat. All right, UC Davis right here, at home at 7 o'clock. Get at home 7 o'clock. While the softball team on the 28th will be playing the Cal Poly Baptist. Whatever they are. So you don't have to wait till football before we get to the Pac-12. You don't have to do it. All right? It's coming along just like we want. We also did not have an official poll per se when it comes to who's going to win the Pac-12 and so forth. The Denver Post did an unofficial poll, and guess who is in first place? That's right. Boise freaking State. All right? And the Bulldogs are in third, which is about where everybody has been putting them as a whole. All right. Now, this is not this. Now, it should just bother you if you're a Bulldog fan to hear Boise State have been picked that way. No. I mean, that's just the way it's always been. It seems like the Broncos. You know what I'm saying? Which is funny because they want to fire their head coach. Yet, they had the Bulldogs in third place. All right. Now, I'm not going to get into Pac-12 here. This is not the type of video, but we are in a league where anybody can beat anybody else. All right? That's just where we are. All right? So, this training camp is going to be really important because we have to, how should I put this slightly? We have to use the heat to our advantage. All right? It's been like 110 degrees here lately in Fresno, everywhere. All right? And they called it Bulldog weather. And it is. I mean, this heat's going to make us tougher than the likes of USC, all right? I'm pretty sure it came down to a toughness factor would win that. But they've been practicing early, and we have to look at what the storylines have been coming out of camp. And that's what I'm going to do right here, right now. All right? And then I'll get to the deal that was announced with the Wonder group. They've got a whole bunch of stuff. I'll talk to that in about a minute. But first and foremost, all right, what is... Obviously, number one, quarterback. Who's going to be the quarterback? Will it be Christian Martin or will it be Jaden Mando? I got to just be honest with y'all. I think that if all things are even, I've said this more than once, I'm pretty darn sure that it'll be Martin just because of the bag he got. I mean, no offense. I mean, if all things are equal, that's just what it's going to be. All right? Now, it's up to Mando to make this a fight. It's up to Mando to make this into where he has to play so well that it doesn't matter what Martin got in terms of money. And we'll see if he can do that. I mean, every quarterback's going to have is going to have the opportunity to improve themselves with his coaching staff. They talked about this at the media day. They talked about this in first practice. I'll post that in the description below. But, I don't think they're going to string us along too much. I think they'll try and figure out as soon as they can who the quarterback will be. Not sure if they will announce it. But he's going to be fairly green in terms of actual playing time. Martin just had some backup duty at Maryland. And Mandel only played one half total. And that was in a bowl game in Boise a couple years ago against Northern Illinois. So it's going to be up to a new guy. We're not going to come in with an experienced quarterback. We're just not. And it's going to be up to the offensive line, certainly at the beginning of the year, and the running game to really help them out. And that kind of leads into this next talking point. Coach Entz announced in day one that starting left guard Edward Fedura and Brandon Ramirez are both confirmed out of the year of injuries. Fedura started all 13 games last year at left guard, and 4 more in 2024. Ramirez, he was one of the top 3 running backs last year, finished the season with 271 yards, 3 touchdowns, 60 carries, and 5 catches, 52 yards. From what they said, it sounds like leg injuries. Here's what it said. We have Brandon Ramirez, who unfortunately won't be with us this year. Eddie Fenua will not be with us either. Eddie was injured away from football back home between the time of the final and the start of summer. Unfortunately, football is a violent enough game for guys to get injured away. Game is so frustrating team because people lean on Eddie. So what does that mean? It means we have to replace 3 starting arterial linemen from last year. Jacob Spomer, Julian Polindo, and in addition to Ramirez. So who do we have left? This sort of spots. Based on what we read, we can put in Oscar Wigo from San Diego. Braden Henderson, of course, he'll be starting somewhere. We just don't know where. He might still be in the left tackle position like last year. Gino Quinnes, Jonah Lano Tubibi, can't pronounce it, sorry. Both Stoddard, and we've got 2 turning tackle, Roland Forward and Brandon Walton. As I mentioned before, he was line tackle last year. So, Oscar Wingo, according to Entz, said he played 12 games last year at San Diego. He does have starting ability, but he's played good teams before. We have a couple other guys, Braylon Henderson, both Stoddard, Quinnes is healthy. They also talk about a freshman named Alex Rivera. Came in on June 1st. He's the one playing in the state of New Mexico right now. He's just saying he's doing a good job. So we'll find out who that starting position is. Again, I think they want to settle that really, really quickly before we can, I think that's important for them to just settle this up, especially when we have another injury, as we talk about for now. Running back, we had Speedy Luke and Bryson Donaldson returning back. We also have other transfers like Bucknell, Takreet Thomas, and freshman Julius Glick. Glick is a guy I've heard a lot about. He's 5'11", 230 pounds. It sounds like he can be somebody who can take that role in terms of what he was, in terms of what Ramirez is. Again, I don't think losing Ramirez obviously is nearly as bad as losing Fenua, just because of the depth of running backs. That's a specialty of this coaching staff, especially in the when we're in conference play. I don't know if who we have really would help us per se against the likes of USC. If like last year at Kansas, we got stuff in the running game, all right? And we know that USC is going to be better than Kansas. So you have to feel like they've got to get, who are they going to place them with, where they're going to put at center, in addition to all the other things they have to replace at that position. We shall see. Now, let me give you some reports to the media about what's been going on in camp. Right here, this is just a summary of what we've been hearing. Okay, let's see. They've been using freshman tight Bryce McDaniel as a wide receiver on our special teams. They're saying he's got really good hands, so we'll find out what he's going to do. Jelon McClain was highlighted by Entz. Entz overall was pleased by the O-line as a whole, which is someone you want to hear. I mean, you're not going to hear him suck. Entz and Simeon Harris really did praise the defensive line, especially the depth they have, which I've been hearing as well. Entz said they're going to speed up an operation of things. Simeon Harris, Deshaun LaFou, and Roland Forward were the guys that Entz is named as stepping up. Okay, so that's Entz has also talked about let's see, what else did they have here? Yeah, it looks like the starting guards, based on teams they mentioned, are Henderson, Stoddard, Quinniers, Alex Rivera, as, I think I already talked about that. So the newcomers, we have 15 guys based on what Entz said. Okay, let's see some guys that we heard it stand out. Running back, Jadis Lackley, he's 5'8", 109 pounds. Entz mentioned him as a narrow guy who can fill in with Ramirez. Alex Rivera is another guy they talked about. Let's see. They talked about walk-ins like Luke Avera and 2 other local safeties. Like, I don't want to make sure I get his name right. Let's see. I believe, yeah. Yeah, it was Luke Sanchez from Visalia. That's who it is right here. He was 6 foot, 185 pounds, walk on from And those are the kind of guys who's the backbone of this program. They always have been the backbone of this program. You want to, so yeah, it's good to see more walk-ons like that. On the other news we have news of an interim joining the coaching staff, former USC Trojan NFL player Jordan Campbell. He was a running back, so he was a part of the Winner's Circle Academy. So that's a new addition to the coaching staff. Let's see, who else did they get to play? Another impression that you're hearing a lot about is Jason Jacks. Our edge coach, Marcus Hall-Oliver, said when I first got here, I think Jacks was pretty close to 30% body fat. I was like, man, we got to change this in next couple of years. He has changed that. He's led by example type of guy. He's a guy who will grab the younger guys. He wants to pour into those younger guys and rally around him. He's become a great leader. He says, I think he's going to be more explosive, more elusive. He's a guy that has always been a big star in the run game, but I knew it was going to make him more elusive and slippery. So, yeah, it looks like we've got that right here. It looks like that Oscar Wego, again, the second day, he was starting at center, which, again, you want to have someone who's experienced around there. But media also talking about Alex Rivera as well in the second day. Let's see who else. They use the tight ends a lot, according to the support right here. They use guys like Brandon Ford, who's the largest new tight end at 6'4", 245 pounds. Zane Gibro, Silas Austin, Isaiah Lucio. They use a lot of rotations based on the... which is not a surprise. Based on this offense and how they want to run the ball and use the tight ends, they are going to just... they're going to find it... They're going to... them... As well as... Let me put it this way. There's more... Until the wide receivers prove themselves, we're going to be leaning on tight ends more in the run game, all right? Tight ends are a really good safety blanket in what Entz wants to do. But really, it's going to come down to the defensive unit. They are the most experienced group coming in this year. They are projected for a return for 11 tackles for loss, 7 sacks, 4 fumbles, return 25, which is actually really good for a defensive line group. I know you're looking at that and going, well, that doesn't sound very impressive. What do we got here? That's exactly what you need. And generally speaking, the best Fresno State teams have someone on the defensive line to lead them. The last conference championship we had, David Perales was a force on the defensive line that nobody in the Mountain West could stop. All right? You have a dominant defensive line, you are going to win a lot of football games. Excuse me. Period. End of story. So if that's the unit that dominates, the rest of the defense will fall. All right? But it wasn't just training camp we had this week. We also had big announcement that came from the Wonderful Company. Wonderful Company, Fresno State reached a 5-year dealership that have the company's free brands featured on sponsorship patches on all Bulldog sports. Not just football and basketball, not just on the jersey. It's for all of the companies, all right? And who are they? Wonderful Pistachios, Wonderful Halos, and Prom Wonderful. It's a 5-year deal. And I'll reach a link to the presser down below. But this is the type of thing that has to happen if Fresno State is to succeed in this day and age. The Bulldogs have lots. The Fresno State Valley has a lot of resources. Billions and billions of dollars in terms of wealth tied into agriculture and other resources. We can compete if all that money was directed to Fresno State. The problem, as I've talked about in other videos, is that a lot of the people with that money don't care about Fresno State very much, or at least on the academic end, they don't. Now, in fairness to the owners of Wonderful, the Linda and Stuart Resnick, they have given the Fresno State in the past. For example, the student union on campus opened in 2022 is open to them. All right, but between the two of them, they've got they have a worth of like $10 billion between those two, or the Wonderful Company is described as privately held $6 billion company. All right, Pistachio alone is $1 billion. All right, and this company also I mean, they do invest in this valley. I will give them credit for that as well. More. This is the wonderful company also invests in education scholarships up to $4,000 for early college programs. There are currently 1,200 recipients of that, including 400 to Fresno State. So this is something that you want to have. Now, could they privately fund like a new stadium? I mean, yeah, the wonderful football stadium in Fresno, California. Yeah, sure. We just got to tear down the fields near Bulldog Boulevard. Yeah, sure, we'll do that. We'll place the great fields for a new stadium. You know, it's just, I mean, I've talked about this before. I'm not sure we have room to do that. I've seen Campus Point. I've seen, these other places that if you go in person, you're like, where are you getting that from? But hey, if they want to put in $1 billion for a new stadium, I'm sure the athletic department would say, yes, please, we'll name it after whatever you want and name it after. So yeah, I know they haven't released the numbers. I've seen people talk about like, oh, it can't be that good. They haven't released the numbers. I'm going to let y'all in and see it right now. I really don't care about the numbers for whatever this 5-year deal is. I really don't. To me, this is about building relationships. This is about culminating long disconnected personal relationships between Fresno State and the people of this valley who are the wealth generators and creators, all right? Like back in the day, long when I was a little kid, the Bulldog Foundation was doing really good things. But the president and AD at the time did not handle the relationships well. They got strained. Money started drying up, etc., 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 all right? To me, this is about reconnecting those people and saying that, look, if you live in this valley, even if you did not go to Fresno State, if you were not born in Fresno, all right, you still work and live in this area. Your wealth depends on this. You should want Fresno State to succeed, not just academically. Right? There are a lot of people who give to the school academically, no problem, but athletically as well. Bulldog sports matter to the people of this valley more than any other college program does throughout the rest of the state. All right, and it's a really encouraging sign to see that they are sponsoring all Bulldog sports, not just football. All right, I want to make this clear about it. I believe it's the first time ever you'll hear all 18 sports. All right, you know when I've seen the baseball team's going to have the halos, the orange on their jersey, and I'm sure there are a lot of people here who don't like that we are giving in the corporate sponsorships. But that's just the reality of where we are as a university. We have to get in those resources to survive in this age of college athletics. You know. The Pac-12 alone, I mean, they're getting record fundraising. Utah State is as well. I've seen Colorado State. I've seen Washington State get on the bandwagon. So just to survive and compete in our own conference, you know, basketball, we're going to get Gonzaga in, all right? To win those type of leagues, we are going to need to get these companies. And hopefully with Wonderful joining in like this, it will inspire other rich entities to do the same, all right? Classy mentioned in his presser that he had other offers, other companies want to get in, but they chose the Wonderful company. He also mentioned, I believe, that this is a move that happened because of the move of the Pac-12. So for anyone here who says that the Mountain West and the Pac-12 is no different, I disagree about that. We're getting a lot of people in here who were dying before, and I don't think would have come in if we were still in the Mountain West, all right? All right, so before I end this week at Bulldog Athletics, I just want to wrap one thing as well. There was in addition to a preseason poll in Denver, there was also a preseason impact list for the Pac-12 as well. It had 4 Bulldogs in there as well. Fresno State selections were Josiah Freeman, Rashawn Luke, Braden Walton, defensive lineman Dejan Lafiti, and defensive back Seaman Harris. Nothing that we already didn't know. Nothing that there's no surprises here. And every team had like 5 players. It's not like a preseason poll all whatever team. That's not really what we're doing right now. At least I haven't seen it. Maybe if y'all have, give me a comment below. But, you know, it is what it is. The polls, such as they are, have us in 3rd place, which... You know, okay, we won 9 games last year with a bad quarterback, but this program always does better when we are underestimated. I think that is something that guys would take. Guys would absolutely take it. And they're not the only Bulldogs on watch list. Simeon Harris was named to the to the Bronco Nardisky Award for Best Defensive Player. Defensive lineman Deshaun LaFoot was added to the Outland Trophy list. Probably not going to win those, but hey, it's good to be on those lists and to add that for you as well. Doesn't really mean a damn thing right now for anybody. Beat URC, and then you can start being on some lists. But, as we are, first week of training camp is wrapped up. It is August 8th. So 4 weekends from now, we are going to be talking about and recapping the game at the Coliseum. Can't wait. I know you can't wait. It's going to be a historic moment for Bulldog football. It'll be the first time a Pac-12 team will be at the Coliseum since, I believe, 2023 is when I want to get her at. So, hopefully the football gods are just. We'll get there. But offensive line needs to be shored up. Quarterback needs to be figured out soon. But outside of that, let's hope the Bulldog team is as healthy as you can ask for. We got depth. We got running game. We'll see what the wide receivers can do. But this can be, and I think should be, a very exciting year for Bulldog football. And I won't make an official win prediction yet. We'll get there after, I think about week 0 I'll do it. But it's coming along here, Bulldog fans. Just almost there, all right? So for now, go Dogs.